This is very much so why I think this conversation is so important, to clarify these points. I wasn't the one, or anyone. I understand there were some people talking about revoking your Judaism or anything like that. I wasn't the one and part of that particular conversation, and I don't agree with that. But I do admit that I was very concerned, and given from what I had been told. And then also some other things regarding the Kyrie thing, which happened about October, November. I think you went on Instagram and had like a live, or had something on your story.
Let's discuss. Let's discuss that. Let's go on. Let's
Yeah,
clarify this. Let's clarify
I
these
would love
things.
to discuss that. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how much time you have, and I see that there are some other people on the stage that would like to speak, but I want to give you the mic back.
I mean, my name is the title of this conversation, so I feel like it's my right
Absolutely. Yeah,
to have the
please, why
discussion.
don't you go ahead and talk a bit about the Kyrie and
So I guess you guys had a concern with the Kyrie comment about him posting a documentary, and I was stating to the chat earlier that I think it was a misconception. But I was speaking to the chat earlier that a lot of Judeans that were taken from Africa or Nigeria was a part of the transatlantic slave trade, meaning that they were slaves brought to America. And I think that part of that conversation led to you guys thinking that I was saying that the Jewish people was a part of the slave trade business. So I wasn't sure how that got misconstrued. But what I was mostly speaking of is that the Igbo tribes out of Nigeria that were considered to be Judeans were a part of the slaves that were taken. And I was not saying that the Jewish people were the slave owners that was in the business. So I think that was a misconception that got taken from one chat and brought to this chat.
Thanks for clarifying that, Amar'e. Damn it, Yehoshaphat. I'm sorry. I actually changed, dude. I just changed the room title too to have your name. So I just want to. One quick question. So, so I'm a little bit familiar with the Igbo, and I know that there's what 40 million or so Igbo or so in the Igbo tribe, maybe a little bit more, and something like 10,000, 15,000,
Around
uh,
20,000
yeah,
practicing Jews who are Igbo in Igbo.
yeah. Okay, so yeah, stand correct. So it's not 15,000; it's 20,000. But I'm in the ballpark, right? So a very small number are practicing Judaism. And if you go back 400 years, it was probably less. It was probably even less. And so, um, how
I don't know if
how do you,
that's completely accurate because there's a rabbinical court that came out I think last year stating that
Mhm,
there is factuals that they have proven that a lot of that the Igbo tribes are from. It could have been less. I'm not sure, but
mhm,
they are saying that 70% of the Nigerians that were taken from Africa, or the slaves that were taken from Africa was from Nigeria, and that
mhm.
those Nigerians were from a Judean region.
Okay, so this is where like I was always having trouble with the math. I have zero issue with anybody from any background anywhere who is a Jew being a Jew. Like I support Ethiopian Jews in Israel very actively. I have zero issue with talking about the Igbo Jews. But if you, and I think it was what, like 14 or 15% of the transatlantic slave trade was Nigeria, right? I don't. That's the general ballpark. And of that, if people are saying that 70%, were Igbo, and 70% of Igbo were Jews, or you're saying Judean, that's the part that is mysterious because most Igbo say they are not Jewish. The vast majority, like well over 99%, say they're not Jewish. They say that they have their own traditions, which are actually beautiful and older than Judaism. Um, and then when various groups have tried to do DNA tests, they have not found any Jewish ancestry in the vast majority of Igbo. So that's the part I don't understand.
That is correct.
I also want to
Oh, I was gonna
welcome
say
back.
sorry. I got lost in the sauce. I don't think they can identify that far back with DNA. I don't think DNA testing was around during the times of before slavery. But I understand it could very well be, and there could be a mixed multitude of slaves taken and brought to America. That very well can be also. But I really can't identify with the number of the Judeans or Nigerians or Africans that were taken from Africa to America to be considered all Jews. They may not be, and that's why my whole point of the conversation is that regardless whether you are or not, you have to prove to me. You have to learn. You have to keep these laws and mitzvahs, and that way you know that's the way you get into God's kingdom. Whether you are or not, there's a mixed multitude. There's families that have married other families from different regions, so it could very well be a nice mix of people. But in order to prove that you are a part of the God's kingdom is that you have to keep the halakhas, and that's where I stand with it.